Thank you, everyone. That is what we call passion, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today I'm going to talk to you about Banks Barbados Breweries Limited and our brand Banks Beer. Slightly different to Alvin's passion, being an owner and being involved. Mine is more on the marketing and export side, and the passion really is taking a vision and an idea and believing that our product, benchmarked against any other product in the world, can make a difference. And I think this is where some of the team and the elements that every single person who owns a brand strive to find that silver lining, that balance on what you do inherently better than what the rest do. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to take you through some of the exciting things that we have done when we try to think. We are by no means successful in what we've done or have broken any significant markets. We have basically touched the surface. And I think when I was asked to participate in this panel, I thought what I could do is share some of the challenges, but also what we think is some of the great success stories just by being slightly different. So I'll take you through. And Banks Beer, which started in Guyana in '55, came to Barbados because of an interest investor who invited the Guyanese to Barbados to invest in a brewery in '59. We just celebrated 50 years for Banks Beer, and in that 50 years, we looked at what the market had developed for us. And if you see the middle, back in 1955, where Banks started in Guyana, moved to Barbados in '61, we did some minor exports within the Caribbean, and then moved further afield, starting in 2008, where we looked at the business at hand because we were hemmed in with a trademark restriction. For many of you who may not be aware, the name Banks Beer was owned in the UK since 1856 by a brand called Banks's Bitter. And that stopped us. So when you talk about, I heard a speaker earlier talk about restrictions to trade, having a passion to export something, but you find these roadblocks. Well, we had the biggest roadblock. We had thousands of British visitors and visitors from all over Europe coming to Barbados and asking us, why could we not export Banks from Guyana or Banks from Barbados back to the UK? And this was a significant stumbling block for us. And I have to say that in 2012, we finally found a way around that stumbling block because of passion, because of thinking outside of the box, because of understanding your marketplace, wanting to make a difference, and to find a way around it. So in doing that, we decided that when that opportunity came, where we joined forces with Guyana, worked as one, we decided that the export market requires a different thinking. If we are going to play in the international arena, we have to benchmark our production facility, our thoughts, the way we do business, the way we set about doing that business. We have to not pretend to be professional, we have to be professional. We have to meet the standards that people expect of us. I think, talking with Alvin, that passion is clear. When he travels, it is about the passion, but it is about the professionalism. If people want to do business with you, you will succeed. Having looked at the challenges, the board at the time, we were approaching our 50-year anniversary. We had a 50-year-old brewery. Ladies and gentlemen that are in manufacturing, you must understand this, if anyone would. What do you do with a plant and facility that is 50 years old when you are trying to gain access to the most advanced countries in the world? You either get involved and make those changes, or you be gobbled up. And certainly, we are not in the business of being gobbled up. So in December 2011, we commissioned our brand new state-of-the-art brewery. This brewery now houses not only a bottling line, but also for the first time a can line, and is a fully automated facility. The second part to our pillars of growth when we sat down and looked at the export side was we knew that we had to develop great partnerships. Sitting in Barbados trying to sell beer and trying to convince agencies to resource us means nothing. We are not in those markets. We are not the experts in foreign markets. So therefore, we knew we had to find the right people to do that. Our product base, for those very, very different to some other companies, we are in a domestic market in Barbados. 99% of the product we produce comes back to us, the bottles are washed, and we sell again. That means that when we are performing in the export market, it is a brand new product. It is not the product that we are sending down the line, which means an understanding of our process, an understanding of the market, understanding of what is required is most important. And for this reason, as you can see some of the pictures there, we have a one-way, lightweight export bottle. We have a can. We have a six-pack that has to sell a story. We have a four-pack because the UK requires it. We have labeling legislations for the US that is different to Canada, that is different to Europe, that is different to the UK. This becomes a nightmare. We just heard Alvin talk about raw materials and your inventory. It is an absolute nightmare. What does that mean? Export is not a game. Export is something that's real, that you have to put a full-time person on. You cannot export with a part-time person sitting at a desk hoping that he will succeed. And this is what we in the Caribbean have to understand. It is a livelihood. It is something that you have to take extremely serious. It requires great skill because you have to be one step ahead of the persons and companies that you are dealing with. Looking at our first international market back in 2008, it was a steep learning curve trying to take beer into the US, a country that requires, when you think is as advanced as it should be, requires a three-system approach. We cannot sell direct to a distributor in the US. We have to appoint an agent. It is the agent that has to appoint a distributor, which means that at any given time, you are never speaking directly to the person who is selling or taking the responsibility for your product. That's a significant change in paradigm shift for any Caribbean company with their own brand. They like to shake hands with the person. They like to have dinner with the person who's dealing with it on a daily basis. You have this three-tier system which changes the dynamic. In 2013, we have come to a stage where 5 years on, we have been able to open a market in several markets like New Jersey, New York, into Florida. Latest one was Georgia, a little bit into South Carolina, and with aspirations of other markets in the Eastern Seaboard. However, we know that to effectively do that, we now need to move what our initial model was, which was a model that we developed to take advantage of those marketplaces, to a full service model, one that would provide us an agency with several people calling on several distributors, where that we can guarantee that our brand will get the attention it deserves. So I just brought some names, and they're all on the website. So anyone wanting, traveling, family, friends that need to get hold of banks in the US, there are several ways online. And I just thought to give you some ideas that it's not just working in these markets. This is what you look like. It's a sea of clutter. It's a sea of competition. It is not like working in the Caribbean where you dominate 8 feet of space for beer. You are one facing of 400. You are fighting to stay on that shelf. And I think the realities here is that it takes a full-time effort by a small, medium, or large team to achieve these very small footsteps. But once you have them, I think it's important that you spend all that effort to try and build on them. This is some accounts in Orlando, Florida. Many of you may have even visited it, the single largest Caribbean superstore. For us, it's a key. Having a Barbadian bear or Guyanese bear in a Caribbean store is critical. We do several events through the year in St. Pete's with a chain of bars that are right on the water's edge. We do 500 plus cases in the March break. We have partnered with key people. Again, partnerships. If you don't have these partnerships and then offer them something with a difference, then it's going to be very challenging. Here we partnered with World of Bears. Through the assistance of the Barbados Tourism Authority, we actually came up with an idea of something called Pints to Paradise. And every single person that went into that outlet were forced or encouraged to go online to see what it would take to get to paradise, other than drinking Banks. And so that objective, where we added our objectives of getting more pints of our product to their objective of getting more people online to use their website, became a win-win for us. And I think in export, it's all about finding that win-win. South Carolina, we launched in 2011. Again, all about the parties that take us to the marketplace. In Canada, we have the #1 independent agent, and this is some of the brands that they represent. Again, Canada, a very challenging marketplace. You don't have the 3-tier system, but you have something even more challenging, and that's called the LCBO. They determine if you will or will not be sold across Ontario. It is as simple as they making that decision and not you. Again, influence is always important, lobbying is very important, and those who have the art will always succeed. In Canada, we moved away from a single bottle for 3 years, where we found that we were not getting growth because the average consumption is not by bottle, although we were selling as a premium beer. And this is the market intelligence. Having done what we did, which was we had to participate in the Toronto Beer Festival 2 years running. In doing that, it gave us the market intelligence that yes, it is nice to have Banks in Ontario, but that's not a reality for most people. You do not go to a liquor store and buy 1, 2, or 3 bottles of beer. So although it is great to be available and to shout from on top that you are available, you have to be in the right package for the right time. And beer is purchased by consumers in 6-packs. Well, we have launched in 6-packs in Canada late in summer last year, and now for the first time this year, we have been shipping our 6-packs right through the winter season, to the extent that in late February, for the first time in 3 years, we have ever shipped a container of beer in winter to Canada. Something that, if it's not in a refill container, will freeze. And it's a Caribbean beer, so everyone had always said, no, we'll take it between April and September. No problem, no one will miss it. You know, they're not drinking Caribbean beer in winter. Again, perseverance and understanding your marketplace. Coming to the UK, I mentioned that for us, having not been able to export Banks beer for 50-odd years to the UK, a market that was significant for us, something that we tried 20 years ago to get into by calling it Bajan beer. And unfortunately, and this is how important people have to understand. 20 years ago, we were sued for using the name Banks Barbados Breweries Limited on the front label. The name of the beer was Bajan beer, but it was produced by Banks Barbados Breweries Limited. And again, trademark regulations require you to ensure that you have a seal, a ironclad arrangement for any market that you go into. And at that time, 20 years ago, as a young officer of the company, you could understand my enthusiasm of getting containers shipped to England, to find out that was short-lived, because I had just put the company, or we had just gotten the company into some litigation for a simple thing of putting the name of our company on the front of the label. I can't stress how important for us as exporters to understand the marketplaces that we are working in. Partnerships. We could not go around the brand owners. And therefore, we decided to go alongside and work with them. So today, our partners in England are the brand trademark owners of banks. We have created such an indelible partnership that for them, they have found a new vigor to export their own brands worldwide. And I don't say that because Richard or any of their team are not here. It is because they realize that their focus being domestic within the UK, owning 5 breweries, 2,150 pubs, trading on the UK Stock Exchange, exporting at a rate which was below other domestic UK brands, made them realize that there is a demand in several markets outside of Europe. And they have continued to build a model that we will work very closely with and partner in every success that they do. So just to give you an idea, there's some of the brands, and for those who are here aware, as I said, they operate 5 breweries, 64 odd different brands of predominantly ale and bitter. And they've created this small company called the Craft Beer Company, which we fit into. Along with that, they have partnered with several other niche breweries around the world, and they go to market in the UK and Europe under this umbrella of bringing quality products to the marketplace. How do we do it? Well, we created a very simple structure. We sell to them. They have agents and export agents in markets that they don't actually work in. And the ones that they work in, their Marston's export division handle for us day to day. Some of the markets in Europe that we're targeting, it's probably easy to read it here. As I said, we are in the UK. We are in we started shipping pallets into Switzerland, Norway, and a few other European markets. But for 2013, 2014, they have targeted this list of Russia, Turkey, Germany, Channel Islands, we just solidified last week. France, Spain, Portugal, Italy. Again, partnerships. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not here, unlike Alvin, talking about shipping containers immediately, which was my goal 5 years ago when I sat with Caribbean Export. But now we've created a new model, a model that makes sense. We have a partner in the UK. We ship containers to him. He is able to go out and ship pallets into markets. He's able to test the market. He's able to build sustainable business through this model. Thinking differently. And this came from them because there's a picture there at the G20 in Toronto where Prime Minister Cameron handed over one of the Marston's products to Mr. Obama. Again, it just put it on the stage. And this is what we need to do. Bring our product to the highest level of the highest stage and hope that we will be successful in doing that. Some of the things that you see there, as I said, for me, the success was when we got listings on the front page of the UK Grocer. The headline, Catching the New Wave of World Booze Brands. You see, banks, I guess it's because of the color, but we certainly were at the top of the surfboard. And as a result, we implemented projects in Tesco's when we got in there with our permanent listings with merchandising units that had not just the regular run-of-the-mill graphics, but we took the origin, the reason, the purpose that people should want to drink a foreign beer to them. And as you see there, there was a beach. And I'll show you some of the other things that we did. We tried to be different. When we sampled, we certainly, everything we did, we said that people come to the Caribbean. What do they get beverages from? And the one thing that came across was a snow cone cart in Barbados. So what did we do? We went out and found the closest thing to a snow cone cart and branded it Banks. And that is what we use at cricket matches, at events. We ride around with an umbrella serving Banks out of a cart that's refrigerated. Again, just trying to be different and trying to bring it back to where the point of origin, because we have a commodity like beer that many other countries have. We created a sampling stand. We didn't go out and buy the same sampling stand that that the cosmetic people use or the dessert people use. We built our own. We introduced the corrugated look to the top. We created imagery that brought home where we came from. And that picture is a beach in Barbados, and on every single piece of POS, we put the name of that beach. If you look there, when we got listings in Pitch and Piano, and all of our mats and everything, we said the continuity must be where the origin is. And therefore, the tent cards, the drip mats, everything promoted Barbados, not as an aspirational place, but as a real destination. And everything has Bottom Bay on it. So the last pillar that I was talking about was to communicate and share the story of our authentic, rich Caribbean heritage, which we call Banks. And to do that, we just took to them the things that we do best in Barbados and that we know. And then to ensure that the resources to do this, to innovate, communicate, and excite. Because without it, you wouldn't be able to do that. As I mentioned to you, we realized that the only growth in the beer market was in the import and the craft market. So what did we do? We tried to make our beer look like, and our secondary packaging, look like a craft packaging. We put the story on the side of our 6-packs. If you know how many buyers just saw that and said, wow, that's different. I've not seen anybody else doing that. So these were all things that we had to do to try and communicate and invigorate. Again, use what we have available to us. Barbados, Guyana, you know, at the end of the day, we always say that we're in the shadows of other Caribbean countries. But at the end of the day, it's only what we have that we can use. And I think anyone in the export business that does it successfully and in a regular way will get success. Again, we took the same theme all the way through. Couponing, tent cards, everything. Consistency. Worked with Virgin Atlantic on several projects when we put some beer on their flights during the winter period. And as I mentioned, communicate using all of the necessary materials to send a consistent message. So, ladies and gentlemen, for us, that is what we hope our tomorrow will look like. As I gave you what our today looked like at the beginning of the presentation. And all I can ask those who are visiting for the first time or second time or third time after the session, make sure you help us fill our capacity by having a few cold Banks. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Ray, thanks very much for that and the interesting invitation at the end. And also a very clear indication about how branding, tourism, innovation can actually lead to dramatic sort of extension in your market. Now, final speaker in this session is Ronald Ramjittan, who's the Managing Director of Barron Foods Limited.
Ladies and gentlemen, in keeping with Caribbean Export Mandate, I would like to share with you this evening the innovative strategies that we have employed over the last 5 to 8 years of our export trust. This would include branding, which we have seen that is of tremendous importance in terms of us exporting. We want to build a strong Caribbean brand. The export success of Barron Foods depends on a number of strategic factors, only one of which is innovation. In fact, this success is linked through an optimal level of innovation. If we engage in too little innovation, you will lose market share. If we innovate too frequently, we will have trouble assuring consistent quality and may lose customer loyalty and force a decline in export effectiveness. The focus on export readiness through innovation is to compete by changing the rules and making competitors irrelevant. This ultimately results in increased customer satisfaction and strengthened customer loyalty, which translate into increased repeat purchase, cross-selling of related services, and recommendation to others, which is what is needed to build a successful export platform. Today, Baron Foods export a considerable fraction of its range of products, and exports contribute to 55% of total sales. Being a successful exporter of value-added products, we have developed successful export markets, including the entire English, Dutch, and French-speaking islands of the Caribbean, USA, Canada, England, Slovakia, Germany, St. Martin, and St. Thomas. In addition to export of the Baron brand, private labeling accounts for a substantial fraction of our export capacity. Currently, Martinique is our leading customer as it relates to private labeling, with 2 brands apart from the Baron brand being manufactured for that island. Hence, we have evolved into new definitions and dimensions of production and service. Baron Food views a successful export strategy as much more than new products penetration to new markets. It's about reinventing business processes and building entirely new markets that meet untapped customer needs. Most importantly, as the internet and globalization widen the pool of new ideas, consumers are more aware of what is available. As a result, we have realized that export effectiveness is about selecting and executing the right ideas and bringing them to the market in record time. Whether it's new product development, expansion into a viable market, or innovative quality strides. Having a strong export backbone has been considered by Baron Foods as a major economic driver. But there is now a renewed determination from the core of our leadership that we do things differently in order to further maximize our export capacity. By approaching our businesses more creatively and more collaboratively, we have strengthened our position and should, with diligence, avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. The post-downturn desire for change is also having major positive effects on teamwork. The attitude that Baron Foods strive to encourage is a feeling that we are in it together, an attitude which brings together collective views on export effectiveness. Also, our general management style is increasingly participative and collaborative in nature, good for fostering the right condition for increased export readiness. The motivation to build on a successful export platform must come from the top, as has been demonstrated by Baron Foods. Support and openness to ideas among senior staff has been the key in soliciting the views of all staff, from the production floor to the front office. Having a well-trained workforce in the area of export has proven to be effective in maintaining and helping to build our export markets through integrated customer services and unparalleled efficiency. Innovativeness is one of the fundamental instruments of Baron Foods' growth strategies to enter new markets, to increase the existing market share, and to provide the company with that competitive edge. Motivated by the increasing competition in global markets, our company have grasped the importance of innovation, since swiftly changing technologies and severe global competition rapidly erode the value added of existing products and services. Thus, innovations constitute an indispensable component of our strategy for several reasons, such as to apply more productive manufacturing processes, to perform better in the market, to seek positive reputation in customers' perception, and as a result, to gain sustainable competitive advantage through increased export capacity. In other words, we have adopted a proactive rather than a reactive approach. there are immense benefits to be had focusing in the R&D department arena. A recent example of this was the unveiling of a range of gourmet sauces that were produced with all local ingredients, which was formulated under the umbrella of the Research and Development Department. This product range has gained much attention and has the potential for great returns. We have ingeniously fused the taste of the world using various local raw materials to replicate international flavors whilst adding that Caribbean twist. Further, being able to replicate export sales annually does not only rely on the aspect of originality of product, but also with our packaging materials to keep abreast with the most modern technologies of our era. One such advancement was the redesigning of our labels to include digital printing, which gives that sense of quality and distinctiveness. Being able to create that competitive edge lies in our ability to acquire, absorb, and apply new information on changes in customer needs and wants, customer service priorities, competitor service offerings, and the technologies available to support service delivery. Export profitability is directly linked to offering a new look that is attractive and boasts quality whilst being affordable. Experience shows that customers are more aware of what is being offered in the export market and look for the very best for their money. Hence, the need to invest in extra cost of developing and servicing an export market without jeopardizing profitability. Being a result-oriented company with a strong customer base, we have gone from being a local company with roots in St. Lucia to a regional company with a full agro-processing plant in the island of Grenada and a solid investment in Trinidad and Tobago. Although the underlying factor for investment in Grenada and Trinidad was and will be the potential for great returns, we are viewing these investments as being an opportunity to spread our wings in our quest of becoming a truly Caribbean brand, while building our export markets through niche marketing. In a world of hyper-competition, exports are important to gain a competitive advantage. It is our view that we cannot sell everything to everyone. Rather, we have selected viable and sustainable niche markets. To do this, it was critical to use the extended marketing mix to create distinctive and deliverable, unique selling propositions that give us a clear competitive advantage in the niche market of St. Lucia. One of the best approaches to the Baron brand strategy was to first locate a niche market and then to develop within that niche. A great advantage of the established niche market was the way in which it helped Baron Foods to locate potential clients. In addition, focusing on that niche market eventually made us an expert in the field of agro-processing, which enabled us to speak with authority on value-added agro-products, and at the same time, speaking directly to those who share an affinity to our niche. As an expert in our niche, our ability to generate referrals and word-of-mouth advertising was amplified, and those who used our products in the past told others interested in similar culinary experiences. This facilitated the development of a deeper and richer relationship with our suppliers and customers, as they have come to understand our devotion to the principles that Baron Foods was built on. Quality products with superior presentation. As expansion of the Baron chain has now grown to 2 Caribbean territories, with a third in sight, we have now translated this local niche market to the wider region and defined our company as a firm holding one of the leading positions in the specific niche market at the regional level. Another important aspect of being export effective was the attainment of quality certifications. The main objective of this implementation was the unhindered entrance of the Barron range into the local and international markets, which have proven to be an invaluable tool into boosting export sales and getting rid of non-tariff barriers. Certification of international standards has definitely changed the customer service process. Having established a comprehensive quality program through international certifications such as the ISO 22000-2005 and the FSSC 22000-2010 standards has definitely set us apart in the quality arena. Moreover, certification has considerably eased the existing technical barriers to trade that exist, especially within the European and North American markets. Specifically within the UK market, where strict regulatory policies are enforced, we have capitalized on the strength and international recognition of these certifications. In addition, Barron Foods have capitalized on every opportunity that has presented itself to boost export capacity. Participating in world stage trade shows and exhibiting our products have gone a long way in helping to market our products. Working closely with donor organizations such as the Caribbean Export has amplified the awareness of the Barron brand. A recent example of this was the unveiling of our gourmet range at an exhibition at the 2012 London Olympics that saw a boost of sales in all product groupings. There is a hard reality that we have to come to terms with, and that is economies of scale are declining throughout the world, with the Caribbean being no exception. Barron Foods had found it pertinent that investment in new areas of development, whether by expansion or advancement in research and development, is vital if we are going to amplify our export and regional sales during the recessive market phase. Barron Foods, not being immune to the global recession, has definitely felt effects of slow market sales, especially within the European region and the USA. But being an export-oriented company with more than that 55% of sales emanating from the export markets, the recession was bad for business. However, having the foresight and continued vision from our leadership has ensured the continued sustainability of the Barron brand. Through sound innovative initiatives, several measures were implemented in an effort to thwart the effects of reduced sales within the last 36 months. Firstly, a comprehensive market intelligence program was unveiled through an in-depth export market research analysis in an effort to ascertain what was transpiring on the ground in our export markets. This provided a lucid encapsulation of what was being experienced. It became evident that Barron products had to be increasingly visible if sales were to increase. This led to successful but vigorous negotiations within the supermarket chains such as Sainsbury's and Tesco for increased shelf space for our products, which saw a drastic increase in sales. This method was adopted for other markets, including the USA and the Caribbean region and Toronto, Canada. Further, not all Barron products have sufficiently large sales per customer to make direct selling practical. This is particularly true of our innovative products that are sold indirectly through channels of distribution. However, the problem of educating buyers and minimizing the risk do not go away when the product is handed over to the distributor. It simply makes the need to rely on an independent distribution network problematic. As successful exporters, we have convinced our distributors who carry the product to promote it vigorously. One way that this was done was with a low wholesale pricing to our distributors. Also, distributors are chosen that have adequate capital and a wide distribution influence, such as One is Limited that distributes our product in the UK. Being export ready and effective is a constant concern in this highly competitive market. We therefore undertook to encourage the creativity of our staff and the development of their skills by means of appropriate training. The acknowledgement of performance and merit is an essential value, which we use as a base to motivate and reward our staff. The relevant training that is administered to staff has positively impacted the process and the personal development of the individuals being trained. As part of our comprehensive quality program, a lot of focus is placed on business management, which includes customer service development in the area of export. Training of staff in the service department has its own schedule, process, and frequency. All related training activities are documented and filed for traceability and review. The basic formula for diversity is in export effectiveness is rapidly evolving within our chain. It is no longer simply a matter of creating an heterogeneous workforce, but using that workforce to create products, services, and business practices that set Baron Foods apart and give us that competitive advantage in the export marketplace. As Baron Foods compete on a global scale, diversity and inclusion frequently have to shift, as different markets and different cultures have varied definitions of what diversity means. Today, diversity and inclusion efforts are the modus operandi that runs this successful enterprise. It is understood and encouraged that our company cannot be successful on a global export platform if we do not have a diverse and inclusive workforce. A diverse and inclusive workforce is necessary to drive innovation, foster creativity, and guide business strategies. Multiple voices leads to new ideas, new services, new products, and encourage out-of-the-box thinking with the recognition that a diverse workforce can differentiate us from our competitors. This new and inclusive management style is geared at capturing new customers, especially those in our export markets, to realize Baron Foods' vision for the future. It is imperative that we strive for excellence in everything we do. We must pay attention to the customer, the market, and supply first-rate services and products, as well as top-class support in an effort to become export ready. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.